these things. You eat a brownie and you're like, what the fuck? Like, you can't believe how much weed is in it. You have to sit down. It's because as it's going through your system, it's creating this 11-hydroxy metabolite, which I like. And one of the reasons why I like it is because it makes me very self-critical. It makes me examine all sorts of things about myself. Like, if there's anything about myself that I don't like, if I'm being lazy, if I'm being a douchebag, if I'm being short with people, if I'm not, if I'm not focused on what I really should be focused on in my life, anything that might be bugging me, my subconscious mind, this 11-hydroxy makes you think about it, like, in depth. And it can really freak people out. If you've got some shit that you're pushing in the back of your head, it's like what people call, I was paranoid. I think what paranoia is people that, when you get high on marijuana, I think what paranoia is people who just they're getting too much information for them to manage, and they haven't done such a good job of managing their consciousness in the first place. And so when this stuff is hitting them, what's happening is it's overload, and they can't control it, and they freak out, and they say, I can't smoke weed, it gets me paranoid. But I think it's more indicative of this, you don't really know how you feel about yourself, you don't really know how you feel about life, you're looking at life through barriers because you're trying to not see everything, because you're trying to focus on one particular thing with your life, or trying to get your shit together, and you don't realize how many things about your life really are freaking you out and bothering you until you smoke pot, and pot just makes you examine them. We as people, we like to avoid shit that bugs us. It's like when people overeat to get over some childhood molestation, they don't even fucking realize what they're doing. They're just distracting themselves with something else. I think we do shit like that all the time. Don't you think?
Mm-hmm. I kind of lost you there halfway.
What we're talking about. Listen, be careful with your weed. That's all I'm saying. Being paranoid is a good thing. It's for real. It is. I mean, the experience of being paranoid when you smoke weed, it's to get you to look at yourself. It's to get you to look at life. You're not looking at it all as clearly as you could. And those jolts of perception you misinterpret as paranoia. What you're doing is just dealing with the information that's already been there. Just the fact that you're this fleshy, temporary, soft, mushy creature that is literally connected with nothing above your head except gases and air, and then fucking space, and above that there's asteroids and planets and fucking giant nuclear explosions and suns, and it's all right there. And you're just this thing that doesn't exactly know what it's doing, and is kind of going along with the flow of everybody else, and sitting in traffic like everybody else, hoping that someone of us is guiding this thing. But they're not. No one's guiding shit. And that is, if you're not thinking about that, if you haven't addressed that as a human being, and you start eating fucking pot brownies, that shit will club you over the head. You'll freak out. You'll be scared. You'll curl into a fetal position. What life really is frightening to people, and marijuana will expose the fuck out of that. Expose what it really is. This is not a goddamn movie. That's the problem. We are living life like it is a movie because we really are programmed by culture. I love movies, don't get me wrong. I love CDs, I love songs, I love all forms of expression, all entertaining forms of expression, except dance. Dance like musicals, that doesn't mean shit to me. When I see choreographed dancing, I'm like, oh, you're moving together? Yeah, it's probably hard to do.
You don't like musical movies at all, or
South Park musicals? That was a beautiful musical.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
That was awesome.
They need to make a new South Park movie. What the fuck?
Except all the Canadians must have been very pissed, right?
They're always pissed. Right now, gingers are pissed. Have you seen that ginger video?
No, is that when people are beating up redheaded kids?
Well, no, this kid who's a redheaded.
That's fucked up, man.
This kid who's a redheaded has this
whole
speech.
Where did that come from?
South Park.
That's crazy. That's sad. That
because there's an episode where gingers were apartment like, what's happened to this ginger?
Some kid.
They're mimicking South Park.
It was hit a ginger day. Kids were hitting them all day, right?
Right, they're mimicking South Park. Well, that's nothing new. When you're in high school, or
they're looking for an excuse to beat the fuck out of
Right. So the video is this redheaded guy that gives a speech for 4 minutes, and it's kind of like Leave Britney Alone style. And it's you don't want you brings up God and religion through it and stuff, and it's just you sit there terrified of this guy. Not bad for him. I was just terrified of him. You gotta watch it.
And
maybe I'll set up for it.
Yeah, he's fucking up the whole cause.
Yeah.
for all the redheads that want love.
Yeah.
Crazy bitch. That's the problem. Is by the time you're out there looking for love, you're probably so goddamn damaged.
Yes.
Most of us are fucking damaged, right? I mean, if you had to guess like what amount of people are still working on issues from their childhood, it's 100. It's 100.
Yeah, it's not even really damage. It's just that's what happens, you know.
Well, it's also you have to reprogram like the way you look at the world. You know, you look at the world a certain way because you think that's how you were taught by your parents. And when you're like in your teen years, you start having to restructure things. Your teen years, you start looking at things like, they don't even know what the fuck they're talking about. They're talking crazy shit. And you realize, God damn it, my parents are just some fucking people. Just like all the other idiots that I meet all day. They just fucked. They're no different than my idiot friends. They're no different than my idiot teachers. They just fucked. They fucked and they made me. And so, shit. And so, when those teenage years, when you're trying to like reformulate the view, that's when it starts. And it continues through your whole life. You know? Do you think that you would be the same dude, though, if you had like change yourself souls. Do you think you would be the same dude if you had a perfect childhood?
No, I think it's just like that. Your whole theory about like you are how you lived. Everyone starts off the sane person pretty much, and just every single little thing kind of builds to it. I kind of believe that. It's like if you roll down the hill, in the mud, you're gonna look different than the person next to you.
Yeah, that's why people really have to have compassion